Hello Flosstube friends, thank you for joining me this week. I am attempting to complete a queen stitch, and it is a trial. I had some requests for a tutorial on queen stitches, and I thought, well, I would just do it with you guys and we would learn along together. And it has been a learning experience. So I pulled out the one chart that I knew off the top of my head that had queen stitches in an easy to get to spot, like right on the edge, so that I could get to them right away without having to, because I am a top left corner starter. I don't want to start in the middle or some weird spot on a sampler just to start a particular stitch for Stitch With Me video if I can help it. So what I did was I pulled out Margaret Anderson. Now this is a chart that was given to attendees of a workshop that Hands Across the Sea Samplers provided at Hobby House several years ago. The copyright on this is 2020, so I suspect it was in 2021 or 2022. I'm not sure. I did not attend. I managed to find this on eBay. I got it with the booklet as well as the soie d'Alger, and then I swapped soie d'Alger for 103s with a friend. If you are interested in purchasing this chart, unfortunately there is no booklet available on the Hands Across the Sea Samplers website, but you can get the PDF and I will link that below. So I went ahead and pulled out a nice, rich, dark colored fabric. It's kind of a burnt caramel color, and I'd say that is pretty true right there. And I thought the colors would pop really nicely on it. It's a piece of fabric that I picked up when I was in Swindon back in October. It doesn't have a name, and it's really more of a 42 count. I thought it would work well for me in doing these specialty stitches, and then also doing the over one, which there is quite a bit of over one in this chart. So I've already figured out the margin that I need and where my corner is going to be, and I'm gonna go ahead and restart the first queen stitch that I will put in. So the bottom of the queen stitch is going to be here, the top is here, so I am going to just start with a little tail hanging out, and that will get secured later by some cross stitches over two that will go down there. So my understanding is that, you know, I'm just following the guide that's in this book. So I'm going to start at the bottom. This is place 1, and then I'm going to go all the way up to the top. Oh, yeah, so this magnet here, these are cloth biddies. I will link them below if you're interested. They work really well, but oh my goodness, the magnet is so strong, it'll just suck your needle right out of the hole. Okay, so that is the first leg of the queen stitch. Now I'm going to go ahead and tack it down. Let's see. And you go 1, 2, and this will be the edge. And something I did wrong earlier was that for the stitch that I used to tack this down to hold the different legs of the queen stitch, I went back down the same hole, and I determined that's probably not what I'm supposed to do. I'm probably supposed to come up one hole and go down the next. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do now. Because that way, as I move across to the left and create this queen stitch, this diamond, then I will also end up with a horizontal line across the middle of the diamond. And I think that's the look that we're going for. So coming up the bottom and going up the top, and wow, that's gonna get really old really fast. But this works to hold up the extra hanging fabric, but I may just go ahead and take that out. Okay, so next leg, let's see. I'm gonna come up here. Yes, I think that's right. Okay. If you are having trouble seeing this, you can always zoom in if you are watching on a laptop, tablet, phone, something like that. I don't think you can do it on your television, but okay, so far so good. I do actually think that's looking pretty good. And using 103s on this, what is effectively a 42 count, I did count it, and it seems to be about a 42 count. I think it's giving the threads room to breathe, so we can really see the different legs that are being formed here. If you have any questions about any of the products that I'm using here for this or any other tutorial, please check the drop-down box below. I get a lot of questions about the hoop. Every hoop that I use, including the one you see here, is a Hardwicke Manor hoop, and I purchase them from Hoop and Frame. They're not always in stock, but you can sign up for restock notifications if you're interested. Okay, now that leg seems a little loose. See that? So I kind of want to tighten that up. Okay. Can I do that? Is that possible? There we go. That's what I want to do. Okay. Now, in this explanation in this booklet, and if you purchase the PDF from the Hands Across the Sea Samplers website, I assume you would have all the same information. It says that this queen stitch is usually made up of 4 threads of floss, but this one is worked with 8 threads. So Margaret had to give us more work, didn't she? Okay. I just went ahead and tugged on this tail because it looked like something had come loose. All right, so I've already put 3 legs down. Stitching my 4th. Now I'm a little confused about the counting actually, because if there are 8 legs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, there shouldn't be one in the middle, because if there was one in the middle, then that would be 7. So let's see if I'm going to end up with the right number here. I'm not sure. Okay. Yeah, see, I've reached the middle and I have 4 down, which means I probably only have room for 3 more. But let's see, 1, 2, 1, 2, oh, and a half. Okay, I'm counting to the left side of the queen stitch, the area that it will occupy. 1, 2. That's the top left corner of the rectangle in which the queen stitch will sit. So then I cut down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 linen threads, and that's going to be the far side. So let's see if it takes me 3 or 4 more to get over there. I need to come up where I last went down in my series of tacking stitches. And I want this tight down, this thread. I want this tight down, but I pulled it up so I can see exactly where I need to go, because I need to go there. So I've got my needle in where it's supposed to go. So now I can go ahead and pull on that, tighten that up. Okay. I think the finished effect on this will be really pretty, but it is tricky. But I am just learning alongside you guys. I am not an expert, and I thought it would be interesting for you at home to watch me figure something out. I don't know. You know, I could have practiced ahead of this, and I could have done like a whole row of queen stitches, and then I would have been, you know, so sure of myself. But I do think it's interesting to figure things out together. And actually, I do think there's another element in this sampler. If I remember correctly, there's some hair. There's like a lock of hair that was couched down in the original. And I think the model stitcher, if I remember correctly, didn't practice couching a lock of hair, but just did it on the model, and like that was the finished product, if I remember this correctly. I'll put it on the screen if I have that right. I'll go ahead and read in the book. Maybe there's information on that. Okay, I feel like I'm moving along pretty well here. I hope I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay, let's take that out. Have you guys been counting at home how many legs I've done so far? Is this focused for you? I hope it is. Okay. Yeah, it looks really pretty. Okay, again, I need to make sure I'm lining things up. Okay. This is where I need to go. That's going to be the end for me. Which I think means that this leg that I'm doing now is my last one. Now I realize in doing this that I made a mistake. Right off the bat, make a mistake. Because I moved from right to left making this queen stitch, but this whole row that I have ahead of me is going from left to right. So it would have made more sense for me to go this way, but that's okay. I can just run the thread back behind. Okay, let me go ahead and count, because I didn't count as I went along, but I need to count now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Am I counting that correctly? 1, 2. Wow, this is so hard to see. Maybe I count these ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, it works out to be 8. Okay, if I have that correct, I have 8 legs, which is exactly what I'm supposed to have. It looks really nice. It looks really nice. Okay, so I guess I did that correctly. Are you as shocked as I am? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and jump and do the next one. And I am not worried about what I'm carrying on the back side. This fabric is so dark and it's pretty dense. It's not a, it seems like a robust piece of linen. Sometimes, every once in a while, there seems to be a bolt or two that comes out as Weigart, and for whatever reason, it's rather thin and lightweight. I have experienced this a couple times in buying fabric from different dyers. It has nothing to do with the dyeing process. It has everything to do with the manufacturing process. It's Weigart. So sometimes you'll get a piece that's a little bit thinner than others. This one, as I say, seems to be pretty nice. So I wonder if this was actually like a 40 count. And actually, looking at it now, this has that black line in the selvage. I think that's what you get on 40 count. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. So that would explain why this is, to me, like a 42 count, because it's a 40 count that may have shrunk in the dye process. That's just me thinking out loud. I'm not necessarily correct on that. Okay, so again, the queen stitches on Margaret Anderson's border here are 4 stitches wide, 8 linen threads wide. They covered the width of 4 regular cross stitches over 2. So I'm going to count from the edge of this queen stitch over 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is going to be the outer edge of the next queen stitch. And so I'm going to go down from the middle, 1, 2, and then 1, 2.5, because from the center of the queen stitch, it's 2.5 down and 2.5 up, and that makes 5. It makes it so that it covers the height of 5 regular cross stitches over 2. I hope I am explaining that well. If you have this chart, or you are working on a chart that has queen stitches, you will be able to count on the grid what you are supposed to cover. So this is the right edge. This will be the right edge. I'm going to count up from the center. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 linen threads, which is 2.5. And it looks like I will be across, I will be at the same height as that first queen stitch. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to come up at what will be the far right side. And then I'm going to go down, not in the same hole, but in the adjacent hole, moving to the left. But first I need to tug on this to tighten that long leg, and then tack it down. Okay, I think this looks really good. So I think queen stitches fall into that same category of specialty stitches that so many of them do, and that they're not actually more difficult than your other stitches, but they are time consuming. They take a little bit more mental effort. It's not something that you're going to do every day. So you do have to pay attention. You have to think about it, but they can be done. Okay, and again, I'm going to pull on this to tighten that long leg and tack it down. Okay, actually, I think this is working really well. Again, I would like to be closer to my stitching. I have the camera kind of right at my forehead, so it's blocking me from getting very close to my stitching, which is unfortunate. But I do think this is working okay. Now, I can just tighten it like that and then try to find where I need to go in. But it's easier for me if I give it a little slack, put my needle where it's going to go, and then tighten this. There we go. So 3 legs down. Yeah, that looks really good. Okay. The good thing is that, well, at least according to this booklet, is that a lot of queen stitches only use 4 legs. Margaret here uses 8. Overachiever. But maybe when you encounter queen stitches in some of your charts, it would take half as long. Oh, I pulled on the wrong thing. So I need to pull on the tacking stitch to tighten the long leg and then secure the tacking stitch. Okay. Yeah, this is working really well. And it looks really nice. I think an entire border of queen stitches in this really bright, beautiful red is going to look gorgeous. I hope this is helpful to those of you who may have wanted it. Queen stitches don't show up in a lot of charts, percentage-wise. I haven't seen them in a ton of things. But it's not something I think I don't think it's something that would easily translate to cross stitch. Like when you come across eyelets or smyrna crosses or satin stitches in a chart, you can very often just replace them with cross stitch over 2 if you want. But queen stitch definitely adds a different dimension, and just because of the shape of them, I don't know that you could easily substitute cross stitches. And I don't think specialty stitches are something that should be avoided or feared. They're really beautiful, and hey, if like 12-year-old girls were doing them in really poor light, I think we can manage with our glasses and our readers and our outlights and our magnification and all that. So give it a try. If you have Margaret Anderson, or if you have something, or maybe you just want to try to incorporate queen stitches into a chart that doesn't actually call for them, you can do that too. I recently added, what was it? Rice stitches, I think, into a chart that didn't have any, just because I wanted to. Okay, yeah, I think that works out. Okay, I need to count the legs here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, it looks like I counted correctly. I can hardly believe it. Yeah, so I think the only thing I would do differently here is that I just wouldn't use my stand, because I feel like, well, in this particular setup, I should say, I am in a difficult position because I have the camera positioned here. But if you have the patience, if you have the time, and the desire, I think queen stitches are definitely something to incorporate into your stitching. These are looking beautiful. And I don't actually mind that I was going the wrong way. So let's take a look at the back here. Take this off. So that's what the back looks like. So you can see that long thread that I carried. Of course, that is wasteful and you wouldn't want to carry that far if you can help it. So had I thought about it, I would have started doing my queen stitches the other way. All right, I had just a very short interruption there, but that's okay because I was able in that time to get the first couple of legs of the next queen stitch in, and I think I've got this down. So this is one of those things that I think if I were to put this project away, I would probably need to refresh my memory when I picked it up again and continued on these particular specialty stitches, but it's not terribly difficult. So just take the time and be patient with yourself, give yourself some grace, and I don't see any reason why they shouldn't turn out beautifully. I don't know that I would want to try to attempt queen stitches on like a very high count, 56 or something, unless I was using Soie Surfine. This 103 is what I would normally use on 46 or 56 count, using it on what is effectively a 42 count. The coverage on my cross stitches over 2 will probably not be as dense as I normally like, but I like how these queen stitches are looking. I can see the individual legs. For one thing, I'm able to count them, and for another, I can see the texture of the stitch, and it's not just a like very puffy little ball. So I'm liking this so far. So I'm excited to continue on with this and share my progress in the future. If you have any questions about this or anything else, or I should say, if you have any questions about this or you have requests for other Stitch With Me videos covering particular stitches, please leave that information, those comments below. Again, check the drop-down box for information on products used in this tutorial. I will also link a couple of my other Stitch With Me videos below. I have a Stitch With Me video on over 1 stitching, rice stitches, Smyrna crosses, and a few others. So if you're interested, please check out the other videos on my channel. And until next time, very happy stitching and good luck with your queen stitches.